Hi, I'm Corey Talbot for High Tools. This is the Richard Fat Boy rollers that I'm demonstrating here. And boy, this thing really does hold a ton of paint. What makes it special versus other rollers is actually, let me reach down here, I'm going to grab a couple of things, is this is what a regular roller looks like. And what the Fat Boy rollers have done is basically increase that circumference, making it to the point where they say you can get up to 25% more paint on the wall. And you can see why. Obviously you've got more surface area, which means more paint. It's the same pile in terms of the nap on it, but you're really just talking about the additional circumference that you get is going to get you more paint on the wall without having to load up your roller every time you do it. So, awesome product. Looking forward to using it some more.
Hi, I'm Corey Talbot from the Hyde Group, and I'm going to talk to you about the Richard brand of products that is part of the Hyde Group. Richard is making a push in the United States. They are a brand that comes out of Canada. They've got an unbelievable assortment of products in the applicator business. Everything from brushes and rollers to trays to kits to poles, you name it. They've got a full offering in the line. And the thing that sets them apart from all the other brands that are here in the United States is their ability to innovate products that have seemed to be stagnant for many, many years. And some of the ones I'm going to show you today have to do with the brushes and rollers. They've got a brand new group of products that they're calling their Fat Boy program. And the difference is, in a regular brush, you can actually see on here the ferrule is fairly straight. It's a thin piece that runs along here. What they've done is they've actually taken the brushes, and you can see the difference, and they've fattened them up. Basically, they've taken the ferrule portion and they've added about 25% more bristles into the product. 25% more bristles means that you're going to be able to hold more paint, means more paint on the wall every time you dip your brush into the bucket, which means that you're going to have to do that less often and it's going to be faster and more efficient for you. They've also done the exact same thing when it comes to rollers. They came up with some roller designs. This is a standard roller. This is probably a 1/2 inch nap. And you can see the difference between these two. This is a Fat Boy roller that they've come up with, and it's the same size in terms of that it fits on a standard frame like this, but the circumference is bigger, 25% bigger, which means that you're able to spend more paint on the wall again instead of having to go back to the tray as often. They've also made it out of a microfiber, which in itself will carry a lot more paint to the wall than standard rollers that you find out in the marketplace. So you add the two together and it's a lot more efficiency. Another item they have is this wonderful roller frame that allows you to lock onto their poles that they have, and so you won't have the problem with poles where they're spinning off. And they've got a quick release on the actual frame itself, where this would be something where you wouldn't have to touch it with your hand, you smack it and it would fall off onto the bucket and just keeps you from getting all that paint all over you. Some of the other things they've come up with, this is one of the best-selling items for them at this point. This is called a gooseneck brush, and it's for all those areas where you have an issue where you just can't get into a specific application, whether it's too high or you can't fit the brush in there correctly. This actually is built so that you can take it and bend it in any way you possibly want to be able to get into any area that you need to. And it's great, goes right onto a pole. It's got a regular Acme thread, again fits on to their pole system that won't have this spin off on you. It gets nice and secure. Stainless steel ferrule, overmold on the piece, so you can use it as a regular brush in your hand, or you could put it onto a pole as well. And one of the last things I want to show you is, I affectionately call this the cheese grater, but it's basically a 3-in-1 paint cleaning tool. Basically what you do with it is, what you don't want to do with many brushes, a lot of people will use wire brushes, or they'll use something else where they put the tines in and they start to pull out. The problem with that is it actually starts pulling bristle out. This is specially designed just for brushes, where you actually push it in and pull back and forth, and it will take all of those extraneous amounts of paint that are stuck up here towards the end of the ferrule right out of it. And it also has a built-in piece that's made for your rollers as well. So you can run it along there and pull all the paint up before you go ahead and either reuse this roller or throw it away. So as you can see, Richard has got tons of new products that are coming out. It's being launched into the United States this year, and we're hoping for a lot of new and innovative sales coming out.
Rummage through a do-it-yourselfer's toolbox, and chances are you'll come across a putty knife or two. They come in several widths, so whether you're scraping off peeling paint or old wallpaper, whether you're plastering or applying wood filler, there's a putty knife that's just the right size and shape for the job. These putty knife blades are made of steel that's flexible and durable, due in part to its high carbon content. Production begins with workers feeding steel sheets into a press one by one. The press's cutting die punches out a blade for the type of putty knife they're producing. The next press punches 3 rivet holes in the handle portion of the blade. These are for attaching a hard plastic handle. For models that'll have a handle made of a softer rubber-like plastic, they fishbone the handle portion of the blade so that it'll grip the plastic. Steel has to be heat-treated for it to gain its full flexibility and strength. First, they submerge the blades in a bath of molten salt. The heat is intense, 760 degrees Celsius. The blades soak for about a minute, the time it takes for the metal temperature to rise to that of the tank. As it does, the steel's molecular structure begins to change. From here, they transfer the blades to 2 successively cooler salt baths. That quenching, as it's called, further hardens the steel. The blades are then tempered in an oven for 8 hours at 204 degrees Celsius. This gives the steel memory, meaning the blade will revert to its original shape when bent. After heat treatment, lukewarm water jets rinse off the salt residue and cool the metal to room temperature. Now that the metal has the required properties, the blades need the right profile. A worker lays them on a magnetic plate that angles them downward. The plate spins, running the blades against a grinding wheel. It takes about 30 seconds of grinding to profile each blade and form the flex point, the thinnest and most flexible part that's 3.8 centimeters from the end of the blade. Blade profiles vary because some jobs require a more flexible tool than others. Now they clean the blades in a revolving drum filled with absorbent sand. This removes oil and other residues left by the production process, and it preps the surface for the protective layer of lacquer that's applied next. After coating the blades in lacquer, they dry them in an oven. This seals the metal, preventing rust. Assembly is completely automated. The first machine slips on the plastic handle. The next machine rivets it on. The following machine slaps on a label that identifies the size and type of putty knife. Professional quality putty knives have a thicker, stiffer blade. The handle is made up of 2 halves. The machine positions them onto the handle portion of the blade, then attaches them with a hollow rivet. This enables the knife to be hung up. This factory also produces retractable utility knives. It puts the cast aluminum handles through a machine that uses polishing stones to remove any shards of metal. Workers assemble the utility knives manually, first installing the push button that moves the blade in and out. After putting in a spare blade, they close up the handle with 1 screw. This factory produces 150 different paint preparation tools for a wide range of uses, from scraping to filling to smoothing out tape on wall joints.